On Friday, March 18th, I was in my house in Lagos. I was watching Journalist Hangout with my 7-year-old son. Then suddenly, I saw soldiers burst into the sitting room. I said, what? I stood up. Then I looked beyond them and I saw my wife and my 1-year-old boy crying in their middle behind them. And I said, what happened? She was now telling me that they came to her shop and arrested her and asked her to take them to where I was. So I said, okay. I said, that's fine. And I asked the officer who led them, who are later identified as Colonel Lawa, if I could know his identity and what they were looking for me for. He said, no, that we are from the military and we are here to arrest you. Immediately he seized my phones. He had earlier seized my wife's phones. Immediately he seized my phones. Then I said, okay, since I was just wearing boxer shorts, I said, let me get inside the room and put on something. Then some of them also followed me into the room. Then I took this shirt and the trousers. And then they took me. By the time I got downstairs, I saw soldiers everywhere inside the compound. They were everywhere. They are taking position. When we got outside the gate, I saw about 3 vehicles. They came in about 3 vehicles. You know, all kinds of people were there. Army personnel, Air Force personnel, DIA, and then some others, all fully armed. Then they bundled me into the vehicle. And then we started going. At first, I thought they were taking me to DMI in Apapa. I was wondering whether that place was still in existence. But when we got to the Air Force base, they made a detour and entered the base. And then they took me straight to in front of the office of the National Air Defense Force, Corps, where, you know, we now waited. We waited for about 3 hours. I didn't know they were waiting for a military aircraft to come from Abuja to pick me. We were there. After a while, when the aircraft came, then somebody came to me and said, give me your glasses. Before then, they had already handcuffed me. Then somebody came and said, give me your glasses. I gave him the glasses, and then they put a blindfold on me. And then they moved me into the aircraft. And then we took off. And we landed in Abuja. I didn't know it was in Abuja. I didn't know we were in Abuja. I didn't know where we were. We landed. When we landed, they took me straight, still blindfolded. Took me straight. And they took me to their office. Immediately we got there, they put leg cuffs. In addition to the handcuffs, they put leg cuffs. I was wondering whether I'd been named as a coupist. I don't know. Then they took me in. They took all my clothes, removed my trousers. I was left with my boxer shorts. I was left with the leg and the hand cuffs. And even at the point, one of the officers came and tightened the right leg and the right hand. Tightened it. Then I was there, groaning in pains. And they didn't loosen that until about 2 or 3 days after. That was when they loosened that. But by the time they did that, the right part of my body was getting numb. In fact, up to this moment that I'm talking to you, I can still feel the numbness here, the back of my hand and my right leg, and even my left hand. I can still feel the numbness from the, effect of the handcuffs and the leg cuffs. I was called for questioning, and they were asking me about certain stories that First News had carried. They first asked me, one of them first told me that I was one of those abusing the chief of defense intelligence. I said, how? They said, we did a story. I said, it was a general story. Well, they didn't say much on that anyway. Then they also asked me about a story we carried about the chief of staff to the president. I think that was a major thing. That's why I told some people earlier that those behind my arrest are people in the corridors of power who are not happy with what Fox News is doing, and they are bent on taking their own pound of flesh. And that was how, we started. And on Tuesday, they called me again. They asked me to write a statement. I wrote the statement. They had gone through my phone. They had seen, my source and all that. So I wrote the statement. Then they asked me to go. On Tuesday, they called me. I told them I still stood by my statement. They asked me to go, and then they left me. They left me in the cell since then. I was left in the cell until this morning. No, until last night, when they called me and said I should call somebody in Abuja that will come and guarantee my release. Given the events, the series of events, I want to say that my life is not safe.